Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're in 2025, the first podcast of 2025, and we've got an interesting guest today, a new one, and I would like to introduce you here. And I was going to ask you actually, what's your background and what do you do?
Okay, so I come from a background of business. My dad started Ruby's.
Mm-hmm.
So Ruby Catering was started by my dad, and then he sold the business. We also had one of the first Tamil shops in the UK, and then my father went on to care homes. So that's what I do now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And you know when you have like someone that's big in like the sort of business industry and everything, is it quite tough to grow up
Yeah.
with that kind of persona like in front of you?
Yeah, definitely. You learn a lot because at home, your family, my mum and dad were always talking about business. So you grow up with that, and then the pressure is on to succeed as well and keep the family name. So yeah.
Yeah, of course. And do you feel like you have to study or do they push you more into the business?
So no, dad was always like, you need to finish your education, you need to have a degree. But then after I graduated and I was working in a graduate job, he was like, you need to come into the business within 6 months. So yeah.
And what was it that you were doing?
So I did a degree in IT and I was working in IT, like networking. And then I was 6 months and then I got taken into the business, running the care homes, yeah.
And was there a moment where you felt like, I actually prefer this over my dad's business or anything like that? You know how like the villain story in every film where you just don't like to follow your dad's footsteps?
No, actually I enjoyed it because there's a lot more freedom when you have your own business.
Of course, yeah.
And leadership, like dad always taught us leadership, so it was more enjoyable. And you learn a lot. So at a very young age I had to learn. So straight
100%.
out of uni, so yeah.
So you'd have been like 21?
I was 22 when I went into the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And straight into the dad's business. And I'm guessing it was probably a growing business at the time, or was that like
at the time
already?
At the time it was a growing business. I was looking after his business, and then I went on to buy my own care homes.
Okay. So would you say that you got like a good relationship with your dad?
Yeah, my dad is no more.
Okay.
But when he was alive, we were best friends. Definitely best friends. So, yeah.
And that kind of, I guess, like puts the imprint on the businesses and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
did you ever feel like, obviously because you started with catering and so on, did you ever feel like you would want to touch back into that scene?
I'm about the only one in my family who's not a brilliant cook. So the answer to that would be no.
Okay.
But he had a shop before that, had petrol stations. Yeah, so he was always in different types of businesses. So,
Okay.
so I think, business is embedded in the blood.
Is it nice to see that the businesses he started are still around? Like Ruby is still a massive business now.
Yeah, it's really, because my cousin owns it now. So,
Okay.
obviously his family and, we don't see each other as different. Like my family still own it.
Yeah.
So, really proud of how well they've done and where they've brought it to now. And even the shop, we had a shop in Southall.
Yeah.
So even the shop, when I drive past, I just think, oh, Dad started that because he started that from scratch and it's still running as a Tamil shop. So, yeah.
Was that in the 80s?
90s.
90s. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Also, not too far. I mean, I was going to say recent, but then people are going to be like, 90s are not that recent anymore.
No, 90s.
Okay. Fair enough. So what is it that so obviously you've done your businesses and now you've got your care homes as well.
Yeah.
What is it that appealed you into sort of like the beauty side of things, and then you've started your sari shops as well, right?
Yeah.
Is it shop or is it more like
It's online.
Yeah.
It's online. And I used to design my own saris for myself
Yeah.
and my family. So it was a passion. And I do something really different to the norm.
Yeah.
And that's who I am underneath.
Yeah.
Fashion, beauty is who I am underneath. And that sort of came out like it was a passion and I really enjoy it. That's where my heart is.
Yeah.
So when I started the sari business, I liked it, took off, but it needed a lot of my time, which I don't have that much
100%.
because I'm running the other business, especially after Dad passed. I'm looking after his homes as well.
Yeah.
So time was an issue, but so that's my passion. And then Miss Tamil Europe was a dream for about, say, 8 years now.
Yeah.
I think that I thought that there wasn't enough in Europe for the Tamils.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things in India like Big Boss and this and that, and there's Miss in India, Miss Tamil Nadu and all this. But there's not a lot in England for the Tamils or the diaspora. So I really wanted to do something for the diaspora. I wanted India and Asia to look at us rather than us always looking at them.
Obviously, when you mean us, I think it's like, you know, we're always put in the same bag as everyone else or whatever, and sometimes not even. Like, so for the people that don't know, obviously a lot of people are aware of the Desi scene, which is like North India, Central India. But obviously there is less representation for South India, but it's still a better representation that the Sri Lankan, Tamil, or even like the Sinhalese scene or so on, you know. So it's interesting that you say like, you know, like for us, we don't have that kind of sort of vision, because it's true that if you look for like a sort of Sri Lankan Tamil place or just a Tamil sort of industry that's quite big in one thing, it's hard to find, isn't it?
It's hard to find. And there's a lot of talent, though, within us. So this is the European Tamils or the global Tamils outside of Asia. There's so much talent.
100%.
You know, with rappers, etc.
100%.
But I just feel like there's not enough of a platform for them. So that's my thought process, that we need India and Asia to look at us.
100%. And I think what's interesting is, you know, validation usually comes if you enter those industries. Like, because there's nothing where, for example, I don't know, like if you're an actor, if you're an actor and your go-to would be Bollywood or Hollywood. There's nothing else you'd be proud for, you know. So it's quite interesting that you say that, because it's true that there's, like, I feel like no one will be validated until they get to that point.
Absolutely, and that's what we want to change. We want to make a change.
So before we go into that new venture you want to do, so how is this sari sort of experience? Because obviously it comes from a hobby, I guess, of you designing your own attires and so on. And then how was that actually like? Because I'm guessing, obviously you've managed like big businesses, and this is starting from scratch, and it's completely different. It's a bit more artistic. And obviously the money is not the same as other businesses versus the time that you put in.
Absolutely.
So tell us like how you started and what actually were the first hurdles really?
So when I first started, I just had to create like a name first, the brand. So I had to create a brand. The name had to get out there. So I had to do a few photo shoots, and I kind of went with, you know, popular photographers and models so that the name gets out there. I wanted a catchy name. So my name is Sai, or Saija, but Sai. So Sairies. So it's like saris, but Sairies.
Smart,
And I wanted to create the brand, and I wanted to give something different. So rather than the Kanjipuram silks that a lot of people are selling, I wanted to do something a little bit different. So more sort of the casual wear or the evening wear, because I felt like there was a gap in the market, especially for the Tamils. And so that was where it started, and it was great. It was so much fun starting it from scratch and creating that brand, and then people recognizing your brand and recognizing you through the brand, saying, "Oh, you're that Sairies person," and I was like, "Yeah, that's my brand."
And plus this time it's like you just kind of stepping out of like the family businesses. So you kind of come against, you probably had some issues where you didn't come against, like, because I guess the other businesses were a bit more established or they were still growing. But then your family probably helped you. But for this one, it must have been so different, isn't it? Because it has your name on it, as imprint, and I'm guessing it's completely different to the other businesses you guys run.
I guess I wanted to prove something to my dad. You know, and he was proud, and he was like, but it's a lot of work. And then I could have taken it even further, but I think because I had heard his dad passed, and then the other businesses to look after, so the hurdles came in, so I couldn't bring it to where I needed to, but it did well. And there was a lot of actually North Indians that bought from me. So they were really interested more, actually, which was interesting. But, you know, whoever's going to buy is going to buy. So the whole experience of choosing the saris, designing the saris, picking the saris, getting the suppliers, great learning curve, and really fun as well.
Of course. And then you've touched on Kanjipuram silk. For the people that don't know, obviously, do you mind like telling us, obviously it's a region in India, but do you mind telling us why people go for that silk from there? So
the Tamils culturally like to wear silk saris. It's like gold, you know, it's like you want to wear the best. attire when you're wearing sari. So the best is pure silk.
Yeah.
And there's mainly two areas that do the silks. One is Varanasi, so we call it Banarasi saris.
Yeah.
And then there's the Kanjipuram saris, so Banarasi is up north, for the north, mostly North Indians wear that. For the South Indians, especially the Tamils, saris are made in Kanjipuram, which is an area in South India. And that's what we traditionally wear for weddings as Tamils. Okay. So that's, the most expensive, most glamorous saris. And there's a lot of suppliers. But then for an evening, if you look at girls who go to wedding receptions or parties, they wouldn't really wear Kanjipuram. They'd wear like what they call a party sari.
Yeah.
But it's more sort of fashion, more like this kind of sari. Yeah. More, it's like Georgette or different types of material. So, yeah.
Is that, so are you wearing your designs right now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So when you go for a sari, do you actually like draw, there's a sketching part of it, or how does it work? Or is it like everything's embroidered, so it's kind of up to the tailor to do it? Or
so some I design, some I just import. So some I just select pieces from the wholesalers. I select certain pieces, but I'm very, very picky. Yeah. So my father is as well used to pick saris for us. Yeah. So I got it from him. Yeah. So I like something different that no one's had, or So that's interesting picking. But I also design a few as well. Okay. One lady once asked me to design her a chess sari. Yeah. Because she was getting married. Okay. And her partner was a big chess player. Okay, like a grandmaster kind of level. Yeah. Okay. So I got, actually she wanted a pure silk Banarasi. Yeah. And I created a chess sari for her with chess pieces and stuff. Yeah. So that's really fun. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, when you get unique requests for businesses, it's quite interesting. It changes from the routine. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, the money isn't the same, like you said. It's really hard. Yeah. But it's a passion.
Yeah. 100%. So how would you run that? Because I'm guessing, like for the people that don't know, care homes are obviously like businesses that make hundreds of thousands of pounds. Sometimes
don't know about that.
They, like when you have like multiple, like you're dealing with thousands of pounds. Yeah. And then obviously saris. What's like the price range that we're dealing with?
With the saris. Yeah. So it can range anything from 50 to 500. Yeah. 100%. So I've got saris in all different areas. So it depends on what the customer wants. Yeah. But obviously, the higher you go, the profit margin is higher.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, but that's not, I just want to give what the customer wants. Yeah. And give them something different to what other people are offering, which is the normal Kanjipuram silks. Yeah. And
what is like, when you see like your competition in that world, or like other sari providers, what would you say you differ? How do you differ from them?
How do I differ from them? Probably the material that I supply. The sari material that I supply is different. I do a very few Kanjipurams, and I try to have things that have got an edge, a bit of a fashion edge on them. Yeah. Something different. I like things that are different. So I think that would be the edge.
Okay, cool. Cool. And then in terms of like, when you start these businesses and you see like, I feel like it's also a sort of, it's a business that's like, where there's a lot of variety. So how do you come in that scene and say, okay, I'm going to make some saris that's completely different to the others, but there is a lot around, and there's obviously like big names that are out there, they've got shops, standing shops and everything. Yeah. So how difficult was that sort of transition when you started?
Yeah, it's really difficult to compete because, there's a lot of market leaders and you've just got to understand that you're starting from fresh. They've got, years of experience in market. Yeah. And just as long as you're making steady progress, that's what you need to look at. As long as I'm making steady progress, then I'm winning. Instead of looking at what the competition's doing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And is that, so the sari business, is that what kind of led you to the modeling and so on, or have you always had an eye on modeling? Because obviously Miss World was massive in the 90s, early 2000s. So those of you that don't know, Miss World, Miss Universe, it used to be a show that everyone, like the moms and the whole family would watch, and then people would know, this time Miss India won. Yeah. Obviously when Aishwarya Rai won, it was a massive win for like the Asian community, because they were like, finally a representation. So was that when it started, or is it more when you start to get into like the business that you kind of seen this modeling scene?
I think, the idea of saris and Miss Tamil came together.
Yeah.
I started the saris first.
Yeah.
But I've always been into beauty and fashion. I've always had a passion for it. And I wanted to follow the passion. And I'm very spiritual. So I think sometimes things find you rather than you find them.
100%, yeah.
So I think there's a bigger purpose, which I'll speak about. But Miss Tamil is not just about fashion and beauty and those shows, but there's more to it than that, which is the bigger cause, I suppose, bigger purpose.
And what is like, how do you start and go about that? Because I've seen your advert that you played as well at the Christmas party that we had. Like, what is the vision that you have for that business?
For Miss Tamil?
Yeah.
So Miss Tamil is mainly about women empowerment. And for our culture, the women of our culture to come out of their comfort zone. That's the main aim, to feel happy in themselves. Everyone is beautiful in one way or another, but for them to feel that, and also for them to break social boundaries, that Tamil women can't go into fashion or they can't flaunt themselves on a catwalk because, it's socially not accepted or whatever. That needs to change. And then whatever we make through these businesses, we want to then help other Tamil women in distress. So whether that's in Asia or here. So in Asia, there might be women who can't afford to educate their children or can't feed their children, or they are young girls who can't find funding for their education. So we want to help them. There's a lot of women who were widowed through the war. If we can help them. And then here, people who are victims of domestic violence, those we want to help other women through Miss Tamil. And through Miss Tamil, we want to create a charity, which is not open yet. We call it Tamilachi, to help the Tamil women.
Yeah.
So that is the bigger purpose.
Okay.
But why not do it through beauty? Because a woman, it's all about beauty, elegance. Being a woman is about, feeling beautiful, feeling happy, feeling content. And every girl likes to dress up.
Yeah.
Every girl. Even if you look at a little child, a 4-year-old little girl, she'll be dressing up in her princess dresses. So it's embedded in us.
Yeah,
boys
I can just see my niece right now.
Like boys and cars.
Yeah.
It's girls and dressing up. So why not help the community through something like that?
Yeah, 100%. And then when you touch on to like the women empowerment aspects of things, obviously, like I mentioned, some of the biggest shows back in the 90s, early 2000s were Miss World, Miss Universe, and they've been hit around, I would say, like 2015 to 2020 with, like the judgmental aspects of it, because there was an image of like the perfect woman, obviously, like in terms of like body shaming and so on.
Yeah.
And I feel like in the Asian community, obviously there is stuff like body shaming. How would you like go about this? And then more like touching on body shaming, but at the same time touching into like skin complexion and stuff like that. How would you go about this? Because obviously, like for the people that don't know, obviously Tamil Sri Lankan people and South Indian people as well, we come in different shades and different sizes, and obviously we're also I think we've been put against like sometimes like again just like in the Western side, the body shaming aspect came in. But then on top of what the Western side had, we also had complexion that came into our discussions. So how do you go about that with this new venture that you're doing?
So that's a really good point, actually. So that is a major issue for a lot of girls in our community. Like you said, the body shaming and the colour of your skin. We have a tradition, I think, and I think you would agree with this. Tamil people's like, they'll say things like, "Why are you so dark?" Or, or you don't, or for me, I get all the time, "You don't even look Tamil, are you sure you're Tamil?" I think I am, and, or you've put on weight, or you should go on a diet. 100%. I think you put on some weight, or you're too skinny, are you okay? Is there something wrong with you? You're not well. So there's a lot of that in our community. And again, I want to stop that. I think everyone needs to know that they're beautiful in a different way. Color of skin, everyone's beautiful. You get some really beautiful girls in different shades. And again, with body shape, it would be boring, wouldn't it, if we were all the same, if we all looked the same. So I want girls to feel comfortable like that. And we are not judging on specifically the way you look. So our criteria is not just about how you look. So we want to know who you are, what you've done for the community, what you've done generally for, society, not the Tamil society, but society in general. What have you done? What achievements have you got? And that's where we're coming from. Who are you as a person? How confident are you? Can we build your confidence? And that's what we're looking at. We're not just looking at external beauty. So that I think once people realize that, they'll really see what we're trying to do here, that we're trying to change mindsets. That's the purpose of Miss Tamil, and why not do it through something that women enjoy? Yeah,
100%. And then in terms of like, would there be like a judging panel or like a process? How does that work?
Yes.
Because obviously you want to keep it as fair as you can.
Yeah, so we're going to have a judging panel, and there'll be judges in different areas. So it's not just going to be a previous model or a previous pageant winner, but there'll be people from different walks of life on the judging panel. Haven't released who yet or what, but yes, we're trying to be as fair as possible.
And are we having an all-woman panel? Okay, so there'll be mixed genders.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we want the men as well of our society, of the Tamil society, to encourage the women in their homes. That's really important, because a woman can't feel confident to do something like this without the support of the men in her family. Whether that's her dad, her brothers, her husband, her partner. We definitely need the support of the Tamil men in order for us to go to the next stage. So yes, men will be involved.
Touching on like, obviously, like, have you got siblings and stuff like that supported you, male or female siblings? Are you the only child in your family as well?
I've got a sister.
Okay.
I've got a sister, but yeah, she's okay. But
younger sister, I'm guessing?
Older sister.
Older sister, okay.
Yeah, but no, I'm a lone wolf, I think.
Okay, cool.
I have a business partner.
Okay.
Who's male. But in terms of what I do, no, I think my dad was my role model. My dad was my support.
Yeah.
He's no more, but I think he's still guiding. So,
of course, yeah. And then, so what do you think the biggest challenge is for a businesswoman or a Tamil businesswoman when she comes and enter these scenes? Like, I'm sure you've had it, like, taking over your dad's businesses. Like, what are the challenges that you've come across?
Judgment. That's the word that keeps coming, judgment. And people believing that you can do it. As a woman, they say, oh, you've got children, or, you've got a family, or how you're going to do this. But, so I think judgment is the non-belief.
Yeah.
For a woman to succeed, she needs, again, I keep saying that support. She needs the support from her surrounding, whether that's her friends, her family, whoever, especially the males in her society, in her circle. Need to support her.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest hurdle.
And do you think, like, as obviously, like I mentioned at the beginning, off camera, obviously you mentioned like some friends, that some of your friends that I know and stuff like that. Do you think that helps you a lot when you do like business ventures and stuff like that, or is it hard because you're trying to prove yourself at the same time? How does that work?
So my friends being really great. We did a fashion show that really took off, and that's where we launched Miss Tamil at the Jaffna Hindu Ladies College. And my friends did a fashion show with me. And my friends and people in the industry, in the wedding industry, in the Tamil sort of industry, have been really supportive. And it's great. But there are some others who judge, but I take no notice. Yeah.
What do you think, like, judging in terms of what?
Different comments like, why is she doing this?
Okay, yeah.
For what purpose? And they might think that I'm doing it for, I don't know, different reasons, but there is only one reason that I'm doing it for, is that there's a bigger cause and there is a need that people don't see. There are women who don't feel secure or they don't feel confident to do certain things. We want to bring that out. We want to change the mindset of people, the way they think, and we want girls to feel confident. Like even a few people I've spoken to saying, a lot of people said they want to apply. some people are saying we don't feel confident enough.
Yeah.
So I want to break that thought process. So the next year we do it, I want women to say, yeah, we're going to do this, because they know what it's about, and they know it's not about body shaming or complexion. You know, it's more than that.
Yeah.
And it's also really exciting. I think it's an exciting project to get everyone together. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah.
Yeah, because like when usually there's an event that comes up, it's always like associated with a lot of businesses that grow as well, because not only your one grows, but all the businesses that are with it, whether it's like the food industry because they give food for the event, or whether it's like the photo, video company that come through to cover your event, there's always growth somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see that. But, you know, you talk a lot about empowerment and how women feel. Is that something that you personally experienced, or is that something that you kind of came across because it is the sort of like, I feel like the vision that obviously like maybe some of your friends went through, or some of your family members went through, or maybe like people like, you know, back then, like your grandparents and so on. Where did that vision come from?
Yeah, so I personally experienced it as well. Absolutely. I'm not going to say no, I've never been through anything like that. No, I've had issues as well, and judgment, and not the encouragement to do what I want to do. And then I want to help other women, older, younger than me, you know, encourage them as well. And through my experience, I want to help them. So I don't want them to be in a situation where I was in, where I lost my father and I was lost. You know, I didn't have that support system to go to the next stage, and I had to do it on my own. But I want other women to see women like us and say, right, I can go to Miss Tamil for support, and I can build my confidence through Miss Tamil. If they're in a dire situation, they can come to Tamilachi, and they can just learn from us. So yeah, I've had experience, and I've seen it with my friends as well. A lot of successful girls that I'm working with now for Miss Tamil, not mentioning any names, have said that they're successful now, but they've been through their struggles to get there, whether that's confidence issues. Some of them don't feel confident with the way they speak, or you know, they've come from Asia, so they don't feel confident with their accent, or again, confident with the way they look. Or should they be doing this, and what their families or in-laws are going to say. So there's a lot of hurdles that women faced. So again, that's why we're doing something like this.
And do you think it comes from, so obviously, like you said, there is some taboo in our community. Do you think it comes from the fact that men in general in our community are always to be in charge, or are always to be viewed as like someone that like is the like savior of the family or so on? I feel like, you know, like, because most people that migrated to the UK or Europe, they did in the last 20 years, or actually now 34 years, going back to the 90s, 80s. But like, do you feel like it's because of that this is kind of like ricocheting onto this generation of women that might feel like they don't have so much confidence in them, because we've come from this generation where it was always all about the male. Like, even like one thing that I'm going to touch on is, I know people were happier to have like sons. Like they will always hope for like, oh, I hope it's a son first and then a daughter or something like that. Whereas like, you know, like, is there really like a massive difference now in today's community?
I think a lot of men now in this generation are very, they're not how they used to be, you know, generations ago. They are a bit more understanding. They are encouraging. But I think more than the men, I think it's the family. I even think it's the older generation generally that are having an impact on the younger generation. You know, sort of it's the cultural, I don't know, rumours, I'd say, saying that, you know, you need to be, like you say, under the man, or he should be the main breadwinner. Or he needs to, like you say, lead the family, and, you know, a girl has her place. I think that's a culture. I don't think that's one gender. I think culturally that's been put upon us, and we've been brought up with that. And that is the issue.
So you think it's technically older women that are pushing this thing back onto like younger women, where really they should be like...
Older generation in
general. Okay.
It's the perception. It's the perception. Like, I mean, even when I did this fashion show and I launched it, they were like, oh, some people were like, why is she doing this? Some people were like, wow, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
But some people were like, why is she doing this?
Yeah.
People that know me.
Yeah.
Why is she doing this?
Yeah.
But not that, yes, this is great. This is a great new venture.
Yeah.
This is going to help other women.
Yeah.
But
or even saying why, but in a positive matter.
Yeah.
Not in a judging matter.
Yeah. It's like, you know, it's like, again, a bit tabooed, like why fashion and,
Yeah.
you know, why a Mrs. category? Because it's not just Miss Tamil, it's a Mrs. Tamil as well.
Yeah.
But the interest we've had for Mrs. Tamil is amazing. Because a lot of people who are married and have had children, they're all about self-care now.
Yeah.
Looking after themselves, which is something different to, I think, the previous generations. They want to look after themselves. They want to, find themselves, feed their souls.
Yeah.
So that, you know, look after themselves in every way, like health, fitness, you know, and the way they look as well. So it's nice for women, I think, because they feel that their role isn't just being a mother or a wife
100%.
or just going to work, you know, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Would you agree with me? I could be completely wrong here. People can tell me as well, but would you agree that we came from a generation where I feel like the women that you're talking about that are now married and got kids, were the women in their respective family that got told to, you know, like that would say like, oh, like don't do anything stupid. Like if you're gonna wear this or do your hair that way, do it after your marriage.
Yeah.
And I remember that was a thing that I used to hear my older cousins, my older sisters and so on. They used to hear that.
Yeah.
Obviously when I was growing up, I had a lot more freedom. But I remember like even some of my cousins that now 27, 28, which is obviously young, they get that comment where now like don't do anything, just do it after your marriage. Do you think that that's the connection why people are now like, you know, like kind of growing up almost like they're having their teenage / their early 20s back again after they're married, after they got kids?
Yeah, I think it comes with maturity though, because I think when they're younger and before marriage, it's kind of like you're kind of conditioned by your families, by your society to be a certain way.
Yeah.
So you need to go to uni, get a degree, get married, have kids, have another one, you know.
Yeah.
And then they get to a stage where they're self-sufficient.
Yeah.
They're not financially dependent on anyone. And they think to themselves, actually, no, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm not going to do what my parents want, what my relatives want, what my husband wants, what my kids want.
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to do what I want.
Yeah.
I think that's where it comes from.
Okay. But do you think that's mentally like draining when you finally do your stuff like you want?
Yeah.
But like for 30, sometimes even 40 years, you just kind of like you're someone else technically.
Yeah.
And then like, do you think that's like mentally draining or?
What's mentally draining is when you work so hard to do something, like starting a sari business from scratch and doing so the sari business is a passion. That's fine, right? But something like Miss Tamil that has a social purpose, and then you get comments from people. It's really, really discouraging. Like saying, why is she? Like I'm out on a Sunday because I'm doing a podcast, right? So I'm doing this obviously to create social awareness. But when I get from certain people like, why is she out all the time? I'm not out all the time.
Yeah.
I'm doing something, you know, I'm doing something for a social cause. So things like that can be really emotionally draining.
Yeah.
Because you work so hard to try and get, because this has never happened in Europe on a big scale.
Yeah.
So we want to do something on a big scale with a big purpose. So when it's a lot of work, it's a lot of brain power as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of thought process.
Demanding.
Really demanding. On you constantly, I'm thinking about what to do. What am I going to do with that bit? There's a lot of elements because it's new. There's no set guidelines.
Yeah.
I'm making the guidelines up.
Yeah.
So when you get comments like that, it can really just get to you and drain your energy.
So obviously now we're potentially at the halfway here of the podcast, but we touch on like big things. Can you give us like the update of what's happening like this year, your big events and what you're planning or what's your vision really, and how you're taking this venture for 2025 really?
Okay, so we've got some good brands on board. So we've got Nine Skin on board, which is Nayandara's skin brand, which is amazing for us. We're really, really proud to work with her.
Yeah.
So Miss Tamil UK and Europe is going to be sort of most of 2025. So it's not just one show. So So we're having a launch in February, on February the 28th.
Okay.
At the Harley Lounge.
Okay.
So hopefully you can all come. Tickets are already on sale.
Okay, cool. So where do we find the tickets?
So we've got an Eventbrite link.
Yeah.
So if you go to our Insta page, which is Miss Tamil Crown, then you can find the Eventbrite link on there.
Yeah. We'll put the link in the description for the people as well.
And there's more information on our website, which is misstamil.co.
Okay.
Just .co.
Okay. Just CO.
Yeah, just CO.
Okay, cool, nice.
Misstamil.co.
Different all the way. Yeah.
So you can go on our website for more information. And then our applications start on Pongal, just the 14th of January.
Yes.
So applications are open then.
Okay.
People can apply through the website.
Yeah.
And then in April, we will have auditions. Then in June, we're going to have the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
And then the semi-finals and grand finals. So semi-finals will be in July and the grand final is in September.
Yeah. Is it all based in London?
It is all based in London this year.
Okay.
This year, because we're starting it. We want it in our comfort
zone. Of course. Obviously, for you guys that don't know, Sai is mostly based in the UK.
Yeah. Born and bred.
Yeah. So it'll be quite difficult to, I know you're trying to touch on the European scene as well.
Yeah.
But it will be very difficult for you to start it and having to go Paris and Milan and so on, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I think next year, or the next time we do Miss Tamil, so we're hoping to do it every year.
Yeah.
Or every 2 years.
Yeah.
Depending on how it goes this year. We will go to Paris. So maybe we might have a quarterfinal in Paris or a semi-final in Germany, so we are going to expand for the years to come.
Okay. And so you said the application starts January 14th.
Yeah.
So the podcast will be out by then for those of you that are watching. So what is the criteria for somebody to apply? What is, so if I'm a normal person behind the screen, who's entitled to apply and who isn't? And I'm guessing there's an age range as well.
Yeah. So for the Miss category, it's 18 to 30.
Okay.
And for the Misses, it's anyone who's been married or is married.
Yep.
So there's not really because there's girls who
from 18 but onwards. Really.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can't say 30 plus for Misses because there are some girls who are married.
24, 25. Yeah.
So it's anyone who's married or has been married. There's no judgment here.
Yeah.
We don't really,
of course,
care about your marital status as such. That's your personal life.
Yeah.
But that's the criteria. So for a Mrs., you have to be married or have been married.
Okay. So you got 2 categories.
Yeah.
Does that mean we got 2 winners?
2 winners.
2 winners at the end. So 2 finals, 2 quarterfinals.
So we're going to do it all together.
Yeah.
But there'll be on the same day, there'll be 2 segments. So there'll be the Miss segment and the Mrs. segment.
Okay.
But it'll be on the same day.
Cool.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. And what is the prep for all this? So I'm guessing there's a lot of things you have to go through. Like in terms of data as well.
Yes.
I guess your IT background probably has to come in now.
Yeah, so the application form is quite informative. So we've asked for a lot of information.
Yeah.
Including photos and video of yourself.
Yeah.
And also we want to find out who you are, what you do, what's your occupation, and what's your achievement. So that's where we'll be looking at, So there is the answer to your question is it's just an age category.
Yeah.
But you can only be this kind of person to apply.
Yeah.
Anyone can apply. We want everyone to apply, and then we filter based on all the criteria.
Yeah.
It's not just on how you look. I want to kind of glorify that. It's not just on how you look. So we want to see interesting people, people who are confident, people who can give us something different.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And in terms of how many people are you expecting to have on your first? Because I'm guessing applying is one thing, but then you'll have to filter through them.
Yeah. So
what is your number that you would want to get? Because let's say there's 1,000 or 2,000 that apply.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've got capacity in terms of the amount of people that you can, go through, and at the same time the amount of people that you can invite in.
Yeah.
Because obviously imagine going through 5,000 people in one day. That's impossible.
Yeah. So do you mean for the finals, or do you mean at each stage?
At the first stage.
So for the auditions, we're going to have 100.
Okay.
So it would be 50-50.
Okay, cool.
50 of each category.
Yeah.
Then it would go down to 30 and 30.
Cool.
For the quarters.
Yeah.
For the semi-finals, it would be 20 and 20. So when I say 20 and 20, I say 20 miss,
20
misses.
Yeah.
And then the finals would be 10 and 10. And then it will, on the day of the finals, it will go down to the final 5.
Okay.
And then you'd see the top 3 from the final 5.
Cool. Do we get a crown at the end in a bouquet?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes, there's definitely a crown for the miss and the misses.
Okay, cool.
And they also, at the end, will have a photo shoot and modelling experience with Line Skin.
Oh, wow.
As part of the winning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So how does one person really does a business and have these connections? Because obviously you said with Nine Skin, how do you go about this? And how do you even make it work? Because it seems like such a distance, between that sort of partnership and you trying to start the business from scratch. So how do you get to that point?
They came to us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm a big believer of spirituality and fate, and there's a bigger purpose.
Yeah.
So certain things fall in place.
Yeah.
And I think that we're getting blessed from above, that, that this has to happen.
Yeah.
This is not just about beauty and fashion. There's a bigger purpose for our society. And I feel really happy that I'm doing this for our women.
Yeah.
And I can help other women, and other women are going to be confident through this. They're going to be proud through this. It's not just like you've got to have a career to apply. No. Even if you're a stay-at-home mum and you want to apply for the Mrs. category, come, because you might have a lot of talents that you don't even know about. And they're going to come out through this,
100%.
They might be amazing artist or amazing singer, but they've never had the opportunity to do that because there's a talent round.
Of course.
As well. So they might want to bring out their talent, and then they'll get recognition through that, maybe global recognition.
Yeah.
Who's this person who was on Miss Tamil and she can sing really well,
Yeah.
So that's what we want to bring.
Yeah. Are you do you think there's a wild card that could come through? Do you know anyone that's going to apply that you feel like, okay, they're like good contestants to have, like in terms of talent?
I don't want to specifically say one person. I just think there's going to be a lot of hidden talent that comes out.
Yeah. 100%.
And that's the purpose. There's going to be people that we know who are great dancers, great singers who apply. I've told a few of my social media friends, well, they're friends, but they're social media influencers to apply. And they're big names. They're great dancers, great singers, great models, great makeup artists. But there will be hidden talents that people don't know about that come out as well. So
okay. Do we get to see competitions, little like 1 versus 1s or anything like that?
Yeah. We're trying to telecast at the moment. We're in talks. So I can't mention things before it's happened, but we're in talks with, trying to get it on the television.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention who, but
of course. Because
there's no point if it doesn't happen. Yeah. But there's going to be, the whole thing is going to be videoed, and we're going to show you interesting clips and things like that. So you can see the auditions.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So a bit like the way we would see X Factor or Britain's Got Talent, something like that. Okay, cool.
That's the plan.
Okay, interesting. And then in terms of, so I know you said you want to telecast it and everything. How do you feel about, I remember my parents watching, like the traditional Tamil TV, not to mention a few names like the TTNs, the D-Bomb TV and so on, that back, in the 90s, early 2000s, they were massive. It was almost like an appointment, like 6 p.m. you'll turn on the TV until 10 you've got the news, the shows, and you would have obviously the person telling you about your future and fortune tellers at the same time between 6 to 10, right?
Yeah.
But I remember it was almost like a daily sort of appointment with the family to sit down and watch. But I feel like now it's completely different.
Yeah.
Where we don't really watch TV anymore, but now we watch, online, and now all these shows that you mentioned, like Big Boss and so on.
Yeah.
It's all online now.
Yeah.
So is that something that you're gonna look into as well, in terms of the telecast aspect, but at the same time trying to touch the online?
Yeah. So we've got media partners on board. We've got Rednall, and we've got Other and TV on board. So you're absolutely right. I think times have changed, and when I've spoken to media partners and people in the media, they've said that it's not about TV anymore. It's all about on the internet and social media, TikToks, YouTube, and that's where people are going to. So we are going to cater for both. So things will be on YouTube, things will be on people will be watching on their phone, but we also want to telecast it as well. Yeah, because you still watch Netflix.
Yeah,
right.
Of course.
So that's the plan.
That's the plan. Okay. Have you ever thought of when you were doing this, what is like the biggest goal out of this? Like, I'm not talking about this first one, of course, but like, what is the vision in terms of like 5, 6, 7 years from here?
5, 6, 7 years is bigger visions. But the big vision when I started it is I wanted, you know how even children born and brought up here who are Tamil watch Big Boss.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, kids here watch Big Boss, right?
course,
Everyone
yeah.
watches Big Boss
Yeah,
or shows like that.
Yeah. Some people became famous by reviewing Big Boss. So yeah.
Yeah. So I want them, India,
Yeah.
to look at us. I want them to watch Miss Tamil.
Okay.
I want them to get interested. That was a vision.
Yeah.
Because I've heard that they also are very interested in the way that we live or live our lives in the Western world. So that's the dream.
Yeah.
But in 5, 6, 7 years' time, I want to take it global.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's the vision there.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're trying to tip over, you know, how we mentioned at the beginning, we want to, like, we've got this validation of, oh, when we go there and we get validation, then it's nice. I'm thinking of people like, I don't know if you met Punya before.
Yeah. Great
she's,
singer.
Yeah, she's an amazing singer. But she's from the UK, amazing singer here. Didn't really get like sort of like so much vision here. But then once she got into the Indian market with Super Singer and so on, and with all these singing contests there, then it seems like everyone here was like, oh yeah, Punya's great.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. So what I would say is I would want, say, the Miss Tamil or Mrs. Tamil winner, Miss Tamil Europe or Mrs. Tamil Europe winner, I would want India to say, we want her for whatever, you know, to present a show or to, you know, act, to be casted 100%. In a film
100%.
Or to be a part of our show.
Yeah.
Or they want to interview the Miss Tamil title winner, the Mrs. Tamil title winner. Yeah. That would be ultimate success for me.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I get that. Yeah. And then do you feel like you've got that sort of, is it difficult to get to that stage?
100%. But I'm a great believer of, if you really believe in something and you want it to happen, you make it happen.
Yeah.
You have to make it happen. So yeah, I will make it happen, even if it kills me.
Is it quite hard then? We're coming to the end of the pod, but is it quite hard for you to? Because I'm guessing you still have to take care of like your main income, your main businesses.
Yeah.
And like you said, the sari shopping was already a toll on you.
Yeah.
To start from scratch.
Yeah.
But this, I feel like the vision is so much bigger and so different, and there is a lot of interest and a lot of partners as well.
Yeah.
Is it much harder, and does it take a lot on you to do this? And do you have to change things in your business? Do you have to now get an assistant to look after the main business, or do you have to get staff here to look after this? Like, how does that work?
It's a massive juggling act, actually. And half the time I'm on the road in the car, which I need to change. My sister says I need a driver, and I'm like, okay. But it is a juggling act, and it is a lot. But when I've started this now, and I've said there's a bigger purpose, so I have to finish it. That's it. So until it's done, I will work as hard as I can to get this done. And then I think that going forward, I have got a team though, to be honest with you. There is a team, you know, who do the media side of things, and I have a team. So it's not like it's all on me. Yeah. And with the care homes, there are people like managers and stuff. Yeah. But I think for going forward for the next year that we do it, it will be less hard work because I can delegate more. Yeah. But for this year, it's going to take a lot of my time and energy, or all of my time and energy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but I'm happy to do that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then, so where do you see yourself in like 5 to 10 years? I know we said the business is going to grow, or you would like to grow there. Where do you see yourself?
Global recognition for Miss Tamil, and everyone to know that I've started this Miss Tamil, and then I'd also want Tamilachi to be at another level. Yeah. I want a lot of powerful women to come into Tamilachi, and you know, then we support a lot of people. That would bring me ultimate happiness. Yeah. That Miss Tamil had now supported all these women who didn't have the support they needed. That would be where I want to be. You know, and like people come to me for that, or come to Tamilachi or Miss Tamil for help. And I want us to be globally recognized.
100%. And I was going to ask you, like, obviously, like, a lot of people want to do nice things, give away to charity and so on. What is the benefit, or like how did you get into like, okay, maybe I need to give back to that side of things? you feel like it's a side that we don't actually look at? Is that why we don't really like give into it? And so you saw a gap where you are like, maybe we should have a charity for this.
I think a lot of our people, you know, who are in a position where they can help others do. So it's not like we don't, and they don't discriminate against women or anything like that. But I think for me personally, I want to support and uplift our women. I think that's personal. I think I want to be that person who uplifts other women, and then I want other girls to be inspired by what I'm doing, and then go on and do things as well. So. Yeah, I think that's personal, but I don't think they. I think a lot of our families do support the ones that are in need, but I think we just need to have something specific for the women.
Yeah, 100%. And is there plans to, you know, like going back onto the Tamil woman, the Miss Tamil, Mrs. Tamil and Miss Tamil? Do you feel like you're gonna stay in London for a while and then move into Europe? Or like I know you touched on how maybe you're thinking of doing like a couple of rounds there in Paris or so on. Do you feel that's difficult, or do you feel like that's kind of like for now we'll keep it in London for the few years and then we'll move it across? Or do you feel it's difficult to get partners? Because I know one thing is in London we've got access to a lot of things. Yeah, there's obviously a lot of talent throughout Europe too. But there's a lot of venue accesses, there's a lot of things, a lot of vision, there's a lot of media partners too that are based in London, and it gets more difficult when you move away from London. You know, it's a lot harder. For example, like fashion is big in Milan, and it's obviously big in Paris. That's why we've got fashion shows there. But obviously, if you're going to do this in Milan and even in Paris, it'll be a lot harder, isn't it?
It'll be harder, but I think there's a lot of contacts. There's a lot of Tamil people in Paris. I think the next year for me, I'm thinking already Paris.
Okay.
Because, you know, I know people there. Everyone knows, you know, there's a lot of Tamil community there,
100%,
right?
100%.
It is going to be harder, but it's not unachievable.
Yeah.
I think definitely the years to come, there's going to be at least one segment in Paris. And then again, Germany. Again, we've got a lot of Tamil diaspora all over these countries. 100%. So, I mean, you know, someone knows someone in our community. So-and-so knows so-and-so. So it's harder, but it's achievable. So.
And then when you get these applications, I feel like, obviously you said like you will choose up to 100 people. Like, do you expect it to grow at some point? Because I feel like you might get obviously a lot more than 100 applications.
Yeah. 100 is what we filter.
Yeah, what you bring in, right?
Yeah.
So how would you go through, let's say you get 1,000.
Yeah.
Like it's going to take like days to review and go through and to see. Because at the same time, you want the best person to come out, and you want some wild cards as well. I'm thinking, you know, there'll be some obvious choices, I'm sure, but there'll be some choices where you're like, oh, this will be interesting. This profile will be interesting. How's that filtering process, and how are you going to go through it?
So we've got a team. We've got teams based here and a team based in Sri Lanka. So the team based in Sri Lanka will filter and with me. So we're going to go through everyone specifically, because we want to give everyone a fair chance. Yeah. Yes, it's going to take time, but we've got the team there to do this. So
Okay, cool. And anyone in the European zone can apply?
Anyone
globally?
No, you've got to be. Yeah. At the moment, you have to be Europe.
Okay.
And you have to have Tamil connection. So yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, of course. So, but what I mean is, you have to be UK based or Europe based.
Based.
Okay.
For now.
For now.
Yeah.
For now, that's the vision. Yeah. All right, we're coming to you then. How was it?
Amazing. Had a really good time. Yeah. And you asked some really interesting questions.
Thank you.
Did you prepare for that, or?
Yeah, as in like I was intrigued. I'm like quite intrigued by a lot of businesses. I love like so I think like some of the people know as well. Like I ask more about businesses and how they work, and I feel like there's a lot of things I like to make like a difference to.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that are interesting in the new venture that you're trying to do and are doing.
Yeah.
And obviously I've grown up with an older sister as well, and I've seen what it's like, and I've grown up with younger cousins, like female cousins, and I've got a young niece as well. So I can see like the difference, you know, between the 40-year-old, the 30-year-old, the 20-year-old, and now my niece, the 4-year-old, you know, like, so it's interesting to see, you know, like how you're going to empower and what's the vision like. And I can see it, you know, I can also see it with my mom as well. So, you know, it's like, I get really interested by everyone's business, really.
It's not going to be easy, this journey.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I will get there.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. And I hope like when we redo this one day,
Yeah.
like you tell us, okay, I had this problem, but then we did this and that and this. So that'll be interesting.
Absolutely.
Perfect. That's
Thank
it
you
for the
so
pod.
much.
Thank you. Thank you. I guess you have to run to the next one now.
Yeah.
Perfect. All good. Thank you guys for
Thank
watching. Make sure you subscribe. And obviously, you've got the link in the description below to apply for the Miss or Mrs. Tamil of 2025. And apparently, you get a crown at the end. So, yeah. So, let's hope that one of you guys win.
Thank you.
There you
Thank
go.
you for your
Thank
time,
you.
everyone.
Thank you, guys.